WRHU Hempstead. My name is Julianna Iovino, and this is Alternative Nation on 88.7 FM, Radio Hofstra University. Today, I'm joined by Rob Hitt, drummer from the band Midtown. Formed in New Jersey in 1998, Midtown has recently gotten back together for a tour that started in 2022, where they headlined shows, played festivals, and opened for My Chemical Romance for a bunch of dates during their recent reunion tour. In addition, just a few weeks ago, they released their EP cover album, We're Too Old to Write New Songs, so here's some old songs we didn't write. So Rob, I just want to say thank you again so much for joining me today. I'm a huge fan of Midtown's, and I was actually able to see you guys back in December in New York and a couple of weeks ago in New Jersey for Adjacent Music Festival. So I always love getting to see you guys play, and I'm an aspiring drummer myself, so I'm really glad to get to talk to you today.
Oh, awesome. Drums. You got to find like somewhere far away from the rest of the human race for them to not get mad at you for practicing all day long.
Yeah, really. I go to a place for lessons. I actually had lessons before this, like at 3 o'clock.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Great.
thank you so much again for joining me today. And before I get started, I'd like to give you a chance to introduce yourself and Midtown to all of our listeners.
Cool. Sweet. Yeah. So my name is Rob Hitt. I played drums in the band Midtown. It's funny to say that I played drums in the band Midtown because we weren't a band for 15 years, 13 years, and then now we're a band again. So yeah, I mean, I guess we're sort of a band again. But yeah, so I play drums in Midtown. I run a record label called I Surrender Records. And I also work a 9-to-5 job, so keeping very busy.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And, we're here to talk about Midtown. So I think the best thing to start off with, though, is the new album. So can you tell me a little bit about that? What made you guys want to release a cover EP?
Yeah, so a few things, I guess, of this 4-song cover EP that we decided to do. When we decided to get back together and do the shows with I guess you'll probably get to it with My Chemical Romance and do some of the headline shows. It was very exciting, and we were happy to see the reception that everybody gave when we announced the shows. And we thought, we hadn't been a band in so long. We didn't have any new songs, and a lot of times, even when a band that hasn't played in a while, or even just bands that you love, they put out new music, it just never necessarily strikes the same chord as the initial music when it came out and you were super excited about the band. So part of the idea behind it, and Gabe had the idea, he was saying like, it'd be really great to give back is record some covers of songs that influenced us growing up and that were important to us and that were meaningful to us. Because a lot of times bands will do a cover and it's like, Britney Spears, or, next year they'll be doing whatever, Lizzo and Dua Lipa, right? Or Machine Gun Kelly, I don't know, whatever. But like for us, it wasn't just about popular artists. It was also, artists we had toured with, and that was meaningful to us and our experiences. So we thought it was appropriate and be really fun to just do some cover songs, that influenced us while we were a band.
I think that's awesome. Yeah, and I was listening to it on the way back from my drum lesson and stuff, and I absolutely love it. I think it's great.
Awesome. We can we'll have you out at a show. You can we'll make you play one of the songs.
I'll practice it. I will do it. I will do it. But do you have a favorite song from the EP, or just one you were really excited to cover?
I love that Hot Rod Circuit song, Safely. It's got such a groove. Mike Portman, the drummer, just, he's not the flashiest of drummers, but like sometimes it's the groove that just really gets you and, tugs at, the strings. It's, that one was just really fun once I, practiced it a bunch and got the groove down. I'm just like, oh, this is great, so that one's a real fun one to play. I would suggest for you too, if you wanted to just like, if you're just trying to jam and get a groove down, that's a fun one to learn. Safely by Hot Rod Circuit. Yeah, Mike Portman, the drummer, he's a great dude. he does all kinds of stuff. He's a music producer, obviously Hot Rod Circuit. I think he sells merch for Andrew McMahon in the
Oh,
Wilderness. Yeah, yeah, for real. Yeah, among other things. He's the best.
that's great. Well, thank you so much. And now we have played other Midtown songs and stuff on the radio previously, and some of the listeners that we have though might not know the band too well. So is there a certain song, not even just from the EP, but just in your guys' discography that you would recommend someone to listen to kind of get into the band?
Yeah, I think a first good introduction to the band with a song that encompasses a lot of who we are is the song "Become What You Hate," which is the first song off Living Well is the Best Revenge. I think you get a taste of a lot of our different styles and influences listening to that song. But it's interesting, like you can pick one off each album in theory, you know? So, but yeah, I mean, I would even just say, I think a lot of times, even though a band may not want to admit it, it's the listeners and the music fans that will really dictate what might be the song you want to listen to. So it's kind of like, and I do this all the time. If I want to learn about a new band, you go to Spotify, fire it up, and if you go to the band's profile, it'll show the most popular songs. A lot of times that's a good way to get into it.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I'll do that sometimes, but that's still a great song to start off
Yeah.
with. I know I love that song. Actually, from your guys' set at Adjacent, I had posted a video of when you guys were doing Give It Up, and my mom saw it and fell in love with the song. She's like, "What song is that? Like, that is so good." I'm like, "It's Give It Up by Midtown."
What's cool about that is that was our last album. That wasn't even one of our first albums, and um, we love that album. It didn't get as big as we thought it was necessarily gonna get, but now, almost 20 years later, our instincts were right. Like we feel validated that people still love songs off that album. So that's cool that like we were just saying, Spotify, can tell you the numbers don't lie, right? Math doesn't lie. So that's how you really find out how well something is in the long run, which is really cool. Sometimes there's hidden nuggets of like best and favorite songs. Like there's this band Save. It's so weird. There's this band Saves the Day, and my favorite song of theirs isn't even on an album. There was this Vagrant Records compilation, and they have the song called "Sell My Old Clothes, I'm Off to Heaven" or something like that. And like it's like just such a great song, but it was never even on an album. It's on a compilation. So sometimes I guess there are exceptions to the big songs.
Right, right. But I'm always glad to listen to new stuff, so I like to recommend things to others. And everyone listening, if you're listening in, these are some great songs to check out to get into Midtown. But kind of bouncing off that with fans and everything you mentioned, do you think that with the recent tour and with the headlining shows that you gained a lot of new fans, or do you see a lot of former fans returning that have been there since the beginning? And the reason I ask that is something that I remember from the New York show was Gabe had actually recognized someone in the crowd and even saw that they were wearing like an old design Midtown shirt. And I was like, wow, like there's people who have been here like since the beginning that are at the show and stuff. And I'm more of a newer fan, but I'm curious to know.
Yeah, I think for the most part, it's a bunch of, people in their 30s and 40s, right? But there's been a very vocal group of younger fans. And quite frankly, that's really exciting because, as an artist, it's nice to know that what you did at a certain point in time isn't just completely lost in a vacuum, and that, the music can transcend longer periods of time for anybody to enjoy. And maybe if we ever did do music, and I have no idea, I'm not even like being coy, I really have no idea. If we ever do new music, maybe there is a young fan base that would be excited about it. Because a lot of times in your formative years is when you are really excited about finding and getting excited about new music. And a lot of times it's harder when bands get older to re-engage that young, a new fan base. I should say a new fan base, not a young fan base, but a new fan base. And I think part of that is, for you, for me, for everybody, what's your favorite album of XYZ band? It's usually the first album you heard is usually your favorite album. So, and you were probably at that moment of time between, 13 and 24 years old when you first heard that band that you're excited about. And somehow you just listen to that one over and over again, 10 years later, 12 years later, 15 years later, whatever it is. So that's the cool part. Maybe if we ever do new music, that'll be meaningful to somebody when they're starting to learn about music and get excited about it. But we haven't even written any new songs, so I don't even know what I'm talking about right now. Maybe it'll get them into Hot Rod Circuit or Lagwagon, which are two of the covers we did on the EP.
Thank you. I love that answer. And I was going to ask later on, but I'll bring it up now is, do you see anything, maybe not new music, but anything for the future of Midtown?
So when you hadn't played drums in a long time, or even when you had, and I think you can attest to this, it takes a lot of practice and a lot of work and a lot of weekends and a lot of after work rehearsing. So the way I sort of feel about it is, yes, it's a lot of work, but I've already put in so much time that if something comes up, why not? I've put in the hours, so why not have some fun with it?
Yeah, I like that answer. Thank you.
Cool.
Now, going on though, switching gears a little bit to the tours, recent touring, everything. How was it getting to perform on stage again and everything, with the headlining show and especially the festival in New Jersey, since that's, the home state?
Yeah, you know what? I was a lot less nervous this time around. I used to get so nervous and worked up about it. I guess like when you're in a band and you're going through it the first time and your entire current state and your entire future of what you think is based upon being in a band, any decision you make, any movement you make, performance you make, something your band members say on stage, like you think that can all directly positively or negatively impact your personal future and where the success is, or where it ends up putting the success where it isn't. And the really cool thing about reuniting as a band is that you have no you have no pressure about you have no pressure other than just having fun. It will not impact or change your future or anything, no matter how well you play, how poorly you play, if you mess up. Like it's just like, let's go have some fun. And that is a good feeling. I mean, that's how music should always be. But no matter who you are, but if you think it's going to be your entire future and your career and the rest of your life, the pressure is a little different when you're out there, grinding away and touring full time. So yeah, so this time around, it's been great. It's been a lot of fun. And even just honestly, even just rehearsing with the guys has been a nice experience. It's like, I don't know, it's weird. Like every time I see the dudes, it's like big hugs, even though like, but wait, we just rehearsed 7 days ago, but you forget that. It always feels like you hadn't seen them in forever, because at some point until recently, you don't see these guys often. You see them once every year, once every few years. So, you're getting back together with your best friends. I mean, when you're in a band, your bandmates are your brothers or your sisters, right? Anything you do as a unit, you do as a family. So it's been really cool to be able to have that experience. And I hope, I think I used to sometimes think, oh, a band's getting back together, that's silly, or they're just doing it for the money or this or that. And I have a totally new perspective on that now. And I would, honestly, I would advise, any band, it's like, go do it and have some fun, because obviously we would become a full-time band again if this was something that was done for the money, because it clearly is not. So, but we're having a great time with it. We have nothing lined up though. We don't have one show like so we played a Jason festival. We did that show with Blink and a million other bands, Motion City, I Am the Avalanche, the movie. But right now we haven't set anything up yet. We might. I don't know, maybe. We'll see.
I hope so. Definitely, I would absolutely love to see you guys again. I did my coverage of a Jason Festival too, and I'm like, oh, it's like always so amazing getting to see Midtown and stuff. But yeah, I'm glad that you guys are having fun with it, and I totally agree, you know, like that's how music should be. People should be having fun, and I've spoken to a lot of upcoming artists too, and they are, you know, excited, which is great, you know, a little bit of that nervousness and stuff, but it's all about having fun with it.
Yeah.
But
the struggle is real when you're starting out as an artist. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, what would be some of your advice to someone starting out?
It's a great question. I think, you know, speaking to the current topic, you can obviously like you can do things you can think that you can be in a box and making music is just good enough. Having a great song is just good enough. And I wish it were. That would be great if that were the truth. And obviously, and everybody, you know, everybody knows this, like TikTok, Instagram, social media, whatever. But I truly believe still, at least currently, and at least for the next 10 years, touring means so much. Like if you don't have to play a big fancy venue, you don't have to go play a bar, you don't have to do any of that. Go play some basements, play to 20 to 30 kids, because still to this day, we have not just met fans playing basements growing up to 20 people because they tell their friends tell their friends, but it's such an intimate setting for a concert or a show that these people stick with you forever. They were the loyal one. They're there from the beginning. And don't get frustrated if you go and there's not a lot of people. If you can make that connection with 1 or 2 or 5 people at the show, that's actually a really big deal. It really is. And now stay in touch, communicate with these people. You would be shocked and surprised that some of these people aren't just fans. Over the years, they become friends. And then you forget these people grow up and they get jobs, and they may even be working in the music industry someday. And you may work with them again. And what a pleasure it is that you get to do that with people like they were kind to you then. And now you get to have this, you know, this cool work relationship. Like, there's so many things in this world. So play the shows, make the connections. And don't get frustrated if it's a few kids or a few people, I should say, because you can make, like, because these are great relationships and friendships that you can have over the years. I sound like an old man, I know, but it's true.
No, I think that's amazing advice and very different from what I've heard from other people I've interviewed. So I think that's great. And I'm always big with, you know, supporting local music scene and everything. And I have a friend this weekend, I'm covering Gov Ball in the city, and my friend is going too, and she's skipping out
It's
one
this
day.
weekend?
Yeah, it's this weekend. I don't know if it's still going to happen, but
Yeah, I know. Wow. With fires?
Yeah,
Who's
really.
headlining?
A few different. So like Kendrick Lamar is one day, Lizzo, Odessa, I think is the other day.
It's about that time.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm fingers crossed it still happens, but I have a friend who's skipping out on the Saturday show because she's going to a basement show of a band that she had seen and was like such a fan of that she's going back to see them. So she's skipping out on Gov Ball to go see that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a few $100 lost.
We get press passes, so we had the press pass.
Oh,
Yeah.
fancy. I'm going to become a radio DJ host again then, in that case.
Get back into it. You said you did it at Rutgers, so.
This is This is Rob Hitt, and you're listening to 88.7 WRHU Hofstra University. How was that?
Perfect. Clear, concise. You got it.
Did I get the numbers right?
Yes, we have to say
Okay.
88.7 FM for the
FM.
listener. Yeah.
I was close.
But still good. You remembered the numbers. That's the most important part.
Yeah. Yeah. There we
But
go.
thank you. And so we have a little bit of time left, and something that I like to do at the end of all my shows is I have all these questions in this little bowl. It's a random thing, and I'm going to pick one out and you answer it.
I like it.
All right, let's see. I wasn't able to bring this. I did some interviews at Adjacent and I wasn't able to bring it with me, so I can't say all my shows, but all my regular ones.
Yeah.
Okay, here's your question. Are you a cat person or a dog person? If you
I
can't
am a
tell,
cat person.
he's wearing a cat shirt.
I would have to say I'm a cat person, and not just because I started a Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok account called Bodega Cats. But I would say I guess I'd say I'm an animal person. I think it's a great question. You probably asked the right or the wrong person, but there's a band out of New York, close to Long Island, called Gorilla Biscuits. Have you heard of them?
I've
A
not.
hardcore band. So they were in other bands called after that called Quicksand and Rival Schools, whatever. But Gorilla Biscuits had a song called Cats and Dogs, and it was actually an animal rights song. And I just thought it was the most interesting thing because the lyrics go, "Cats and dogs have all the luck." Because like, what about pigs? What about cow? Like, what's the difference? And it's a really interesting song because it makes you think, well, yeah, isn't it kind of weird humans, or okay, not even humans, certain species of certain geographical regions of humans decided to just say, okay, cats and dogs are going to be the ones that we're going to be good to and not eat or whatever. Like humans are weird, right? Like why they pick those and that's not okay to eat, but somehow the others are. I don't get it. I don't know. So, but that was a hardcore band called Gorilla Biscuits, who are fantastic. I love that band. I used to listen to the album Start Today over and over and over again when I was younger. So, but yeah, I'd say I'm an animal person in general. But yeah, cats or dogs. I think it would be pretty odd if I didn't say cats, especially considering I have a shirt with a cat on and I have a cat Instagram account.
Do you have any cats of your own?
Uh, we are fostering but not owning at the moment.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. That again is a great answer. I love that.
Yeah. Cool.
But thank you so much. And so, as my last thing, do you have anything you would like to say to our listeners?
Keep on listening. Go Hofstra.
Thank you. Now, thank you
Cool.
again for joining me today. This has been Alternative Nation with Rob Hitt from the band Midtown. I'm Juliana, and make sure to tune in to Alternative Nation every weekday from noon to 3 p.m. on 88.7 FM Radio Hofstra University.